Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy 3Lych and welcome to Boss Rush Island 3. Start off with Sada Armstrong with a lovely tech bot to boost her, and by booster I just mean, to make her ability happen because I won't do it myself, I'm too lazy. Now we're going to place down a 013 Druid Monkey and then a 001 Druid Monkey, both on first targeting, and we're going to be upgrading all these guys to 013s, at least for the foreseeable future. Make sure you get it to 010 first and then 013, as the Thorn Swarm upgrade is a lot more important than the Druid of Wrath, so in terms of the order that you should get them in, it's more important to get the middle cross path, as that'll add more damage faster, allowing you to afford the bottom cross path faster. I hope that kind of makes sense. I'm not too sure, honestly, if that's understandable, but whatever. After about Skull 6, which I believe is the 5th Druid we're placing, we're going to be upgrading it all the way to a 023, which just means that we're getting Heart of Oak, and then we're going to place down 2 more of them at Thorn Swarm, and at the 8th Skull, and during the 9th Skull, at the 9th Skull and during the 10th Skull, we're going to be placing down 3 010s. Now, technically, you only need 1 of them if you have all the Monkey Knowledge, but I put down 3 of them, just in case, as, for a lot of the time, you're missing a little bit of Monkey Knowledge or you're not putting things down as fast. You're going to need more of these, as Sada's ability will be mistimed. You could also save your Sada ability for then, but I digress. At about Skull 14, while you've continued to place down Druids, about Skull 14 you're going to want to start saving up for an Embrittlement Ice Tower. This guy's going to be a 410, however a 401 would be just as good. Either cross path, it kind of just depends. I personally tend to prefer the bottom cross path though, but this video I did decide to try out the middle. I didn't really like it that much. At Skull 20, we're going to start going for a 004 Rubber to Gold, and then upgrade to a 104. Again, bottom cross path more powerful, more important, so we get that first, and then do the we do the top cross path. Ugh, my mind is just in a haze right now. And while we're doing all this type of stuff, we are placing more Druids down, so just kind of keep in mind the general number of Druids. There's no perfect, precise number that's right, but, just look at my screen and kind of get a feel for that before you try it yourself, and then, in future runs, you guys should have a general grasp of it. After we place down a couple more Druids, we're going to be getting down a 042 Glue Gunner. This guy, of course, has the Glue Strike ability, and once it's off cooldown, we can use it and deal a ton of extra damage to the boss balloon. Now we're getting down a second Embrittlement. By selling the first one for a little bit of extra cash, we can get down a 401. Make sure this one is actually bottom cross path, and you can see some camos coming through. We actually want them to leak, as if we lose a little bit of HP, we are going to be able to deal a little bit more damage with the Druids, although that's not entirely important. It just means that we have an excuse to not have to defend camo, so that's lovely. Keep on placing down Druids, and if this video is helping you out so far, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and use code YOBOY, that's YOBOY, in the BTD6 store. As you can see right now, we have 4 of these zebra balloons coming through. They each will leak 25 HP, so just be careful, don't actually die. 25 is not the exact number, you guys might want to look it up, honestly, but it is less than 25, so if there was too many zebras coming in, you're going to want to place down a ninja monkey, or no, you're going to want to place down either a ninja or a sniper. Either way will be fine, as camouflaged allows you to deal a ton of damage. You could also do like a trip shot, whatever. Once we can afford it, we're going to be buying the Super Brittle, who's going to massively boost our damage, and then get down a 202 Village in the little corner pocket of the Jack-o'-lantern tooth, you know what I'm talking about. And this guy's going to also be buffing up things, as well as making down our Dartling even cheaper. The Dartling Gunner is a 240, and it's just going to help out. Also fill up your tower limit with more Druids, so that while we try to save up for the MAD, we'll have enough damage to take out these ZOMGs. Now, targeting your Dartling is very, very important. You want to be hitting these ZOMGs as much as you possibly can. You can even use the Rocket Storm if needed. I didn't use the Rocket Storm, and that led to a scary moment, so just be careful with all the balloons coming by. You might have to target your Dartling a little bit. It is kind of annoying. I mean, Lych is just a very annoying boss, whatever. Use the Dartling ability once you get the Dartling up, and then you're going to want to sell one of your Druids in exchange for a 420 Alchemist to buff up your MAD. I also get down another Rubber to Gold Alchemist to get a little bit more money, as we are going to be saving up for a Megalodon. However, this second Alchemist is not quite as necessary as alchemists usually are. The one in the front is going to be doing most of the heavy lifting. Oh my god, I feel like I've forgotten how to breathe, and it's been so long. Like, oh my god, I need to take a breath for a second. Usually I cut this part out, but honestly, Lich is it's such a painful boss. I want to be at least slightly anything other than thinking about Lich, so I'm going to talk to myself for a second. Alright, I feel better. Now we're going to get up a bunch of orcas, and my last orca is kind of more to the left corner. This is kind of a test thing that I didn't actually look at, but I do believe this is going to help boost our damage, but whatever. Merge the other 3 orcas with the leftmost orca, and we will have a Megalodon available for purchase once we have $45,000. You can just leave the orca on first targeting. It's not going to deal too much boss damage, but it is going to help out just a little bit. I mean, 40 grand, not too bad. It is mostly balloon damage though, so whatever, keep that in mind. We're going to be using our mat ability whenever it comes off, of course. Luckily, there's no abilities that we have to time it with. I mean, I also just use the glue strike ability whenever I can. Those happen to coincide sometimes, but it doesn't have to, blah blah blah. You know, it'll be fine. But make sure you're targeting the mat, especially on every 10th skull. It's going to have a bunch of Lich souls, and if you're not targeting properly, you will die very, very quickly. Now we can get the Meg, and we can put it more towards the right side pool. It's merged with a bunch of things that are over to the right, so that's cool. We're also going to sell off a bunch more of our druids so that we can buy a ton of great whites and get our Megalodon power all the way up to 132. I'm not too sure how many beast handlers you need. It's pretty basic math. Each one of these adds 8 power, and so just keep on adding them until you're at 124, which means you need 1 more, which gives you 132. Just keep on merging them until it won't let you anymore, and then sell the extra one, right? Whatever. If you don't feel like doing math or paying attention to the screen, that's how I am most of the time. After we get up the Megalodon, we are going to be getting it a Jungle Drums Village with Call to Arms on it. So, you know, just get that Call to Arms up. And then, now that we have a Call to Arms, and we have a Mad, and we have a Meg, we're going to be using them all at once. So, pretty much for the Meg, it's super easy. You just make sure that the Megalodon is always attacking in range of the boss. And then for the Homeland and Mad, use them at the same time, but you have to wait until Lich does its big green pulse. Lich, every once in a while, does the big green pulsating thing that it just did. Pretty much the entire screen flashes green, and that means that it saps the abilities from everywhere, and you want to use the ability after it saps all the abilities, because if you do it right before it saps the abilities, it'll sap your ability. I hope that makes sense. Pretty much wait until the green pulse, and that means you use Homeland and then the Mad ability. Hope that makes sense. Also, it won't do the pulse during the like 90th skull and 100th skull and all that stuff, so if you want to, you can use the ability during that time, but I'd personally rather save it. I trust myself to be able to target the Mad properly enough so that I can wait until all that stuff dies. It'll do another pulse, and then you use the Homeland and the Mad ability, and it'll deal some good damage. Now I'm selling off some of the druids in exchange for things like the Cripple Moab, as well as getting down the bottom path tier 5 Moab. What? That's not a Moab. Bottom path tier 5 Sniper would be very helpful right now. You want these guys to be on first targeting. Strong targeting would target the gravestone balloons, or not balloons, the just gravestones, which are not balloons. They're not helpful. Don't target those. Another thing you can get, which is what I decided to get, is the Ray of Doom. I'm not too sure I'd recommend that. I think Sniper Spam would be a much better strategy. But, you know, I wanted to try out the Ray of Doom. I think it helped out, at least against the AI balloons, so maybe it was worth it. I'm not too sure. The Ray of Doom, you know, it does a good bit of damage, but the hardest thing about it right now is that it's really expensive. So I sell my Super Brittle in order to get it up slightly earlier. And now we are at Skull 98, and things are a little bit close, but hey, whatever. We finally get up the Elite Defender, which I'd recommend you guys get before even the Ray of Doom. And I can finally use one last ability, which will allow me to get 100 pops. Trying to go past 100 is definitely doable, but not really recommended. I think 100 is a pretty good score here. I hope this guide helped you out. Leave a like, subscribe, and by the way, you can join the Discord, BTD6 Boss Rush Discord, link in the description if you want to find a team, so that you guys can get past these hard islands, as being in a team with random people can oftentimes just get stuck, especially on Lich or Blessed Populace. So, see you next time.